into the box score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Farrett, Justin Malden always doing his good work for us behind the scenes. And Murph, another in the book, week 2. I think everybody's a little more acclimated to it. The only thing about it, we had cool weather in week 1, and week 2 was terrible.
It warmed up again, didn't it? But the big thing about this week is same thing I mentioned on my radio show. Now it's a regional contest week, and those are the ones that really count if you're looking to go to the postseason and the playoffs. You're playing against somebody that your record against their record really does matter.
Right, and not everybody's going into region play, but a lot of teams are. And I think, Murphy, yes, the first two games are good, but it's like you said, if you win 2 ball games, in a lot of cases in a region, you make the playoffs, even if you finish 2-8.
There are a few that if you just win 1, you get to go. If it's a 4-team region or a 5-team region.
Well, Gordonsville's region.
That's right.
You don't have to win a game to make the playoffs.
You go 0-10 and make it. Did you hear that, Red Boiling Springs?
Red Boiling's much improved.
Yes, they are.
Much improved. Let's go ahead and look at some highlights. We're going to talk about the Watertown and Gordonsville matchup. Watertown gets the win, 17-7. Trey Pack, another field goal. Gordonsville, get behind 14-0 there, Murph. After the first quarter, they missed some coverages. They turned the ball over, which proved to be key in that game. Did the 3 Gordonsville turnovers.
I hate that for Coach Jackson. Of course, he's still got a pretty young football team, but Gordonsville's 2 biggest rivals are Watertown and Smith County, and they dropped both of those in the same season. And I know there's probably some people guessing about maybe the coaching staff. I don't know that for a fact, but nonetheless, they'll be okay. They'll be okay. They've got a young football team, and it's only Coach Jackson's 2nd year, I believe. So it'll take a while for all of that to take care of itself, I think.
Their next biggest rival probably is Trousdale County, and I think maybe that's who they've got this week. But when you look at the stats, 346 yards to 153, that is pretty dominating for the Watertown Purple Tiger.
Yeah, more than double what Gordonsville was able to put in the stat book. A couple of fumbles. You can tell it's still early in the season a little bit, but nonetheless, one of those games that emotion plays such a big role in, no doubt.
Watertown had to feel good going on the road and grabbing that early lead, Murph. I think when you are on the road against 2 pretty evenly matched teams, that it's big that you get off to a good start.
And that's got to make a little bit of a difference. Some people say, where you play the game doesn't matter, but it does. It does. You experienced that on the hardwood playing basketball.
Definitely did. Let's go ahead and look at some individual stats for the game. Kwame C, 2 receptions for 100 yards, and with my math, that's 50 yards a catch. Had a touchdown. Also on the defensive side of the ball, a big night, 10 tackles and 2 interceptions. Brett Price, the rookie quarterback, his first year, I think, to be there, 5 for 9, 141 yards, and rushed for 50 yards as well. They were throwing it deep a lot, you can tell, or they were throwing short passes and getting big gains, getting some good blocking. Murph.
Looks like they were had a lot of big plays too. Like you said, 2 receptions for 100 yards. That's a whole night's work for most receivers. And then the Price kid getting 141 yards on 5 carries, 5 for 4.
5 completions.
Yeah. So big plays. Sounds like that was a big part of the ball game.
28 yards per pass. Adam Cooper, 15 rushes for 75 yards. For Gordonsville, Kanan Musgrove, their senior running back, 15 rushes, 84 yards. Also 12 tackles and a sack. A big night for him. And Kyle Adams, defensively for Gordonsville, with 13 tackles.
That's 2 people making 25 tackles. What about the other guys? Come on, let them show their stuff as well.
That was a big night for sure. Let's go ahead and look at the Smith County and DeKalb County. Smith County gets the win on the road to break a 4-game losing streak to the Tigers. Riley Martin, a freshman, 11 of 18 through the air for a couple of touchdowns. The interception he threw really wasn't his fault. Hit the receiver right in the hands, and he bobbled it up in the air for DeKalb to intercept it. 4 rushes for 15 yards. Jermaine Case in a big night for the Owls, 63 yards on his first touchdown, which was the only score in the first half. He did have a couple of scores for the night. Ethan Mabel ran the ball effectively for the Owls there in the second half, 4 rushes for 68 yards and a touchdown. John Hendricks, an interception, but the big factor in that ball game was Trapp with 2:02, Murph, to go in the first half of play, gets hit on the Owl sideline and is injured. And, you know, when you take the quarterback, DeKalb had been into Owl territory 4 times, had been turned away every time. They'd gotten inside the 10. You know, they had 167 yards. The Owls just barely had right at 100 for the first half, but they had 167 yards, but they trailed 7-0 at halftime. Now, Parker, the backup quarterback, came in and did some good things there at the end of the second quarter, but still, you know, they struggled without Trapp in there. Of course, they were already without Malachi Trapp, their, you know, go-to big play guy. He was hurt in the one county game at McMinnville, but, you know, 2 big weapons gone for Coach Steve Trapp, and they also had a number 3 that was out with an injury.
Makes a big difference when your quarterback or your point guard or your pitcher doesn't make the ball game. You're kind of playing with one arm behind your back.
Definitely is, and hopefully these men can return quickly for DeKalb because they're an integral part of the Tigers. Let's go ahead and look at the Cannon County playing against Providence Christian over MTSU. Cannon County gets the win, final of 20-7. Zay Odom, 6 rushes, 86 yards. Kobe Miller, 7 of 8 through the air, 87 yards, 3 touchdowns, 12 rushes for 18 yards. And Tucker Kine, 2 receptions for 28 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Joshua Meyer, 5 rushes for 25 yards and a score for Providence Christian.
Those 3 names you see on the board for Cannon County, Odom, Miller, and Kine, we're going to see those week after week after week because they are the go-to guys. Tucker, I think, already has some college interest to play at the next level, and pretty good numbers for Cannon County, especially playing in a place like Floyd Stadium.
When you look at Cannon County and them trying to get to the upper echelon of their region, which is going to be a tough task, I think wins like this breed confidence, and I think that's what they really need right now.
Yeah, and I think Coach Daniel probably did a good job of getting them to forget last week's game or the previous week's game. It's behind us. We can't do anything about it, but let's go out there and play what we're capable of playing, regardless of who we're playing. And I think it paid some great dividends as well.
We'll take a look at the region scores where we will return to the box score, sponsored by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old barred trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for Chief Geologist, General Mine Foreman, Mine Engineer, Graduate Mining Engineer, Electrical Superintendent, Mobile Superintendent, Mine Supervisor, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
Life moves fast, and that means all of your technology should too. DTC is proud to be your local technology partner, helping you connect what matters most, no matter where you are or what you do.
For a limited time, earn a $25 bill credit for you and $25 for your favorite local school when you add or upgrade internet service or TV with DTC.
DTC Communications, connecting what matters most.
And welcome back to the Box Score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair. And Murph, we're going to look at some region scores, and everybody's dealing with non-region that we're going to be looking at, but when we preview those upcoming games, some of those are region matchups.
The ones that really count. That's what determines whether you're still playing in November or not.
Right. Let's go ahead and look at the Sonic of Carthage scores from week 2 out of Region 4 1A. Joe Burns plays against Ballard Memorial, Kentucky, gets a big win, 51-7. Westmoreland goes to Salina and gets a tough, hard-fought win, 13-6 over a struggling Clay County team. Midway beats Red Boiling 19-6. Watertown beats Gordonsville, as we talked about earlier, 17-7.
Midway and Red Boiling surprised me a little bit. Midway, as you mentioned last week, just a few miles down the road from Kingston High School, did terrible in the opening week. Isn't that who Red Boiling lost? No, I'm sorry, that was this past week. That's right. But nonetheless, I thought Red Boiling scored what, 61 points
against Sunbright, maybe?
Yeah, Sunbright. That's who it was, and I thought they might be a good contender in that one, but not necessarily so.
Let's go ahead and look at some more scores. These are coming from Region 3 2A. Sonic Carthage scores: East Robertson over Houston County, 69-0. Monterey, a big win, 21-0 over Rockwood. You got Sale Creek over Jackson County. Westmoreland, as we talked about earlier, over Clay County. May County pulled out a can of whoop and beat Hartsville or Charleston County 42-0. And Smith County over DeKalb 21-0. That's the first time that Macon County has had back-to-back wins in that series since about 60, 61, 62.
Not a lot of love lost between either of those two teams, is there?
There's not, but that's a big win for Kyle Shoulders. Not that they won, but the size of that victory.
Yeah, 6 touchdowns and held the Yellow Jackets scoreless. Right. Still trying to get things straightened out over in Hartsville.
Let's go ahead and look at the Sonic of Carthage Region 4 2A scores. Marion County gets the win over Dade County, Georgia, 10-6. Moore County, a big win over Fayetteville. Forest over Cornersville, Richland over Cascade, and County over Providence Christian.
Last year, Fayetteville was the team, not only last year, but year before, too. Fayetteville was the team to watch as far as single A was concerned. I guess all those Alabama players graduated or something.
Let's go ahead and look at Region 4 3A. And the numbers there, one county jumps out, Sequatchie County, a big 59-24 victory. Moore County over gets the win. Grundy County over Huntland narrowly. Grundy County off to a good start. Eagleville beats Community, and Watertown beats Gordonsville.
Community might give Eagleville a little bit better game than that. Their quarterback is the coach's son, and he's been pretty productive in his first 2 years under center, but evidently the offense just couldn't get anything going at all.
Let's go ahead and look at some more scores. Sonic of Carthage bringing those, and Murph, you and I talked about this. If Upperman's physicality showed in that game, and from reports I heard from fans from both sides, that's exactly what happened. They get a big win over 11 and 24.
Yeah, that's a quality 6A program against a 4A team, and once again, Upperman showing that we got a pretty good program down here, and we'll take on just about anybody.
White County beats Warren County 35-6. Of course, Warren County coming off a win over DeKalb. Stone Memorial over Sweetwater. Bledsoe in a close one over their border rival there. Cumberland County 14-13 in overtime. Livingston, I guess, had to go back Monday night and finish the game. It was 24-12. Macon over Charleston, of course, Smith over DeKalb.
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't know the weather was really quite that bad, but obviously the officials and the administrators of those two schools just decided, no, we better try and finish this thing tomorrow and not worry about somebody getting hit by lightning or whatever.
Let's go ahead and look at some other scores of interest. Center Grove, Indiana, 28, Oakland 10. Something you don't see very often. Of course, Oakland goes outside the state repeatedly, kind of like David Lipscomb does. Lipscomb Academy, I guess, is on this graphic. And, they play these teams that are top 25 in the nation, Murph, because a lot of people around here don't want to play.
Center Grove, just kind of a suburb, I guess you might say, of Indianapolis, a team that's been high in the rankings up there in the Hoosier State for a long, long time. And I guess Coach Kevin Creasy at Oakland was willing to take that chance to make sure they got a 10-game schedule because, like you say, nobody wants to play Oakland unless they have to.
Saraland, Alabama gets the 31-30 win over Lipscomb in overtime. And I guess that's Lipscomb after their loss to IMG. They're 0-2, but watch out. They're still the real deal.
I don't think anybody expected them to be 0-2, but when you look at their schedule, they've got some tough ones ahead of them as well, and they've still been able to maintain their ranking in just about everybody's rankings.
Pickett County wins over Sunbright 28-6. Of course, Pickett is not in a region now. They used to be in Gordonsville's region, and Clay and Red Boylan and Joe Burns, but they chose to go kind of like White County did a few years ago, Murph, and trying to play people that's more on their caliber and good for the Bobcats.
They call that an outlaw schedule pretty much because they're not playing within a region, not trying to get a shot in the playoffs, and they just want to try and keep the football program. It's not but, 10 or 12 years old, I guess, maybe a little more than that, but numbers still not quite what they'd like for it to be in Byrdstown.
A little bit surprising to me, Brentwood gets the win over Brentwood Academy the second week in a row that the Bruins of Brentwood High School have been impressive.
I've seen Brentwood High the first week when they just destroyed Blackman, and I know that was probably expected by a lot of people because Blackman has a new coach, a very young football team. They were very senior heavy last year, but they came right back and got Brentwood Academy too. They're operating under a new head coach as well, but I think that was one of those games that went right down to the wire before the winner was decided.
Adamsville, which Murph's grandson is part of, gets a big win in Selmer against McNary Central, 22-6. Let's go ahead and look at some games which are upcoming. You got Gordonsville going to the Creek Bank to play against the Yellow Jackets. It's always a big rivalry, and Gordonsville has got 3 rival games ready to start their season.
Back to back to back, that's awfully tough, but I know Coach Jackson will do a good job of getting his kids ready for that one. I doubt seriously that he has to do a whole lot to get them fired up for that particular game.
Joe Burns at Whitwell, pretty good trip there.
Yes, it is.
Jackson County, border rivalry. They're going up to Clay County. Of course, Clay County has struggled. They lost a lot of seniors from a year ago. And then Red Boiling Springs going to Byrdstown to play Pickett County. It is a non-region game.
Jackson County, a team that has struggled too. Obviously, it's a big basketball community and has been for decades. All you got to do is walk through the entry to the gym and see all those state championship trophies. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if they don't pick up a win at Clay County. Also, like you said, the Bulldogs struggling a little bit this season in the early going.
Region 3 2A games, Liberty Creek at Smith County, East Robertson at Monterey, Westmoreland at White House Heritage. Of course, White House Heritage coach is Scott Murray in his first year. He's got a couple wins, I think, to begin his season.
Correct.
Jackson at Clay and Gordonsville at Trousdale County. That Westmoreland White House Heritage, Murph, I think will be a great ball game.
I think so, and the Liberty Creek thing, that's a brand new school as I understand it, maybe the second year,
right.
But they say the campus lacks nothing, the
right.
people who have been up there, and kind of wish that game had been played over in Sumner County, but that'll come next year. Liberty Creek and Beach and Gallatin and Station Camp, you could throw a large blanket over all 4 of those campuses.
That East Robertson, they're fast. Monterey's kind of a ground and pound. Be interesting to see how that game comes out as well. Let's go ahead and look at Region 4 2A. Canyon County traveling up to Ashland City to take on Cheatham County, Fayetteville at Giles County, Chattanooga Central at Marion County, Forest at Community, and on Thursday night, Huntland at Cascade.
I don't see any real surprises there. I think if you follow high school football at all, I think Cannon County's got a shot at Cheatham County. I know the coach down there, and he's trying to get that program back on solid ground, but it's been a while since they've been there. Giles County should have no trouble with Fayetteville. I think Marion County wins. I think Forest wins at Community, and the Thursday night game, that one can probably go either way, but I think Cascade may prevail.
Let's go ahead and look at Region 4 3A, Watertown at Sequatchie County, and that's a big game, Murph.
It is. They'll have their hands full. Sequatchie with a big win this past week, and that's a fast track field that they have over there, so Watertown better be ready for watching the speedsters on the other side of the line.
And they've got turf on their field now. Tennessee Heat at Grundy County, Forest at Community, Fayetteville and Giles County. Let's go ahead and look at Region 4 4A, Livingston Academy at DeKalb County. That's our Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week on DTC Sports. Cumberland County at Stone Memorial. Of course, that's a stone's throw away from each other. They're in Crossville, Cookville at White County, always a big rivalry. And Upperman at Macon County. You know, don't count Macon County out, but they're going to have to play physical against the Bees.
I think the same thing holds true for Cookville. They've struggled a little bit this season. And White County, despite losing a coach that got that program turned around, now has another head coach in place there. And but they have won their first couple of ball games, but I look for that one to be a close one.
We'll have an interview with DeKalb County head coach Steve Trapp when we return to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Community Wellness Clinic is a nurse practitioner-owned and operated full-service medical clinic. Our emphasis is on good health and wellness throughout every generation of your family. We strive to provide the expert quality of care that our patients deserve and expect. Along with primary care services, we also offer a full complement of urgent care services. Let us be your family's good health partner. Community Wellness Clinic in Woodbury. Phone 615-563-7515.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
DTC Fiber?
Yeah.
Nice.
DTC Fiber?
Oh, yeah.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
And welcome back here to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway, Terry Collins, and Murphy Farron. We've been joined by head coach Steve Trapp of the DeKalb County Tigers. And Coach, unfortunately, the injury bug has bit hard for you in these first two ball games, first 2 weeks of the season, which were losses for you. But you know, sometimes the injuries are part of the game, and looks like when it rains, it pours for y'all. And I know that's 3 integral parts of your offense that are gone.
Yeah, and it seems like we've been dealing with this, for the past 3 years. Really significant people, going down. Briz, it's been something that he's had to deal with each and every year of his career. But we've still been able to bounce back and play some pretty good football. But it has amount, the guys, like you said, that went down were people that we were really relying on to be, difference makers, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And, they're out now. So, we've got some good news on some of them, some bad news on some of the other ones. But like I said, nobody's going to feel sorry for us. We're not going to feel sorry for ourselves. I mean, I hate it. I don't like kids getting hurt by no means on our team or any other team. But at the end of the day, there's a job that still has to be done. There's standards that still have to be upheld. And we're going to work each and every day as a coaching staff to elevate these guys that's got to come in and play football probably sooner than we wanted them to. But they're going to get out there and they're going to play hard for us.
I think that will probably be the case with you, Coach. That's something that happens in all sports, be it football, basketball, baseball, track, the list goes on and on and on. And there's some young man over there, we don't know who right now, that's going to get his chance and is going to step up and do some big things. You can almost guarantee that happening at some point in time.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what we're telling them about. You got this opportunity, so just embrace it. Just make sure you're knowing what you're supposed to be doing, and then, like I said, doing it up to the standard that we have. And like I said, we would love to have everybody healthy. Don't get me wrong, but it is what it is. The season is still early, and we've got to get right in a lot of different ways. Even if we were fully healthy, we've got to play better football. So it does make it a little bit more challenging. There's no excuses. Those are some good football players that's down for us right now, but like I said, we just got to develop the other ones and turn them into good ones as well.
Coach, you had to feel like at halftime you held Smith County to 2 first downs, yet you're trailing 7-0. You go into out territory 4 times, but don't get any scores. You got 167 yards at offense in the first half. I know some costly turnovers, but you had to feel like you did some good things in the first 24 minutes.
Yeah, it was just, wanting to come back out and play cleaner football. That's what we talked to them about. I mean, that's, the first down penalties at the end of the night, we had more penalty yards on offense than we had rushing yards. So that's good. Also, by the end of the night, we only had 28 offensive plays. So that's not a good recipe for success. But, yeah, in the first half, we had some things going. Right there with 20 seconds left, we fumbled inside the 5. Had a chance to score right there. It just seems like every time we took 2 steps forward, we would take 5 steps backwards. I don't know if we run 3 plays in a row correctly. So that's an issue, so something that we talked to our guys about. And, Monday's practice was a lot different than it usually is. Wasn't as relaxed as it typically is. So, hopefully we can get these guys understanding what it takes, mentally, each and every play out there, because we have fallen short in that category with no lie to tell. And, us as coaches, we've got to hold them accountable up to the standard that it takes, to play out there each and every snap. So there's no doubt that we got to do better. We've done some good things, but you can't do good things. You got to do great things all the time. And there's another team over there that's trying to play hard and be victorious also. So we got to understand all the situations. But, first half we did some good things. We got some movement. Second half was abysmal. I mean, that's what it was. I think we had maybe 7 plays the whole entire second half. A lot of credit goes to Smith County. They come out third quarter and had a 13, 14-play drive. They didn't score. We turned them over, but then come back. We went 3 and out. And then they had another double-digit drive, ultimately scoring. So our defense held its back as long as it could. Our offense just didn't play complementary football and help them out.
Coach, Terry and I have talked about the importance of this coming week's games. It's region time for a whole lot of schools across the state, and even though you're 0-2 right now, a win Friday night puts you on top of the region, and that's where you've got to direct your focus right now.
Definitely. I mean, last year we started out 2-0, and we won both those ball games with just seconds left on the clock, and then we lost the first region game to Macon County last year, which we had an opportunity to win, but had some injuries in that game also. But I said last year after that Macon County game, I would have traded the first 2 for that one. So this year, we've not started off the way we wanted to start off, but, as far as playoffs goes and all that, this week is what really matters. We want to win every time we step on the field, don't get me wrong, but we have to understand that we don't want to get behind the 8 ball in the region. We've added an extra team in the region, so it's a harder road, probably the hardest road to the playoffs DeKalb County has ever faced. As far as having that many teams in the region. I think there was one time in the 2000s it was a 9-team region, so that was pretty difficult. I think they went 7-3 and didn't make it, but so we've got to get off on the right foot, and in order to do that, we have to do things correctly.
Coach, when you look at a 7-team region, which is what you're dealing with, you're going to have to probably get 3 wins to get in the playoffs. And if you look at it, and one of those coming against a team that has struggled in Livingston the last few years. I know they got a win over Whites Creek, after in the opener losing to Trousdale. But it's a game that I'm not saying it's a must win if you're going to make the playoffs, but looking at how tough all these teams are when you look at Macon and Upland, some of these White County, some of these other teams, you really need a win to try to get at least one of these 3 wins coming up Friday night.
No, you're right, Terry. I mean, I'll say it for you. It's a must-win. With our injury situation and the state of what we're in right now, hopefully we can get a couple of those guys back or whatever, then, there's no doubt about it. I mean, if we don't win, no, it's not over by any means, but it makes it a whole lot tougher. This is a very quality region. Livingston's a quality football team. They're improved from what they've been the last couple of years. Coached against those coaches when they were all at Sparta a handful of years ago. So they know what they're doing. So this is going to be a battle, and they're thinking the same thing. I don't know if they've technically got a win over Whites Creek yet or not. I think they're still going to try to finish that game at some point. I don't know. So they've not won a football game in over 2 years. So, I mean, they're hungry. So we've got to be hungry. We've not won a football game in our last 6 tries, and it's eating at my guts right now. I can't stand it. And up until last week, every game that we've lost has been by 1 score or less. So we've got to get back right also. But by all means, this is necessary this week.
Coach, I don't want you necessarily to give away any secrets or anything, but is the return of your injured players, is that kind of a day-to-day thing that you've had to deal with this week and, just kind of ease back into Friday night situations?
Well, I mean, we got news yesterday. Malachi, unfortunately, won't be able to play for the rest of the season. He tore up everything that you could possibly tear up in his elbow, so they don't recommend him trying to play. Briz is day-to-day. I mean, right now I'd say it's about 40% likely he would have a chance to play. It just depends on how his treatment goes and what he looks like Wednesday afternoon and Thursday. Marquez, the other guy, he's still out for this week, for more reasons than just being injured. So we'll see how we go next week in that regard. Got another starter that won't be playing this week also. So, we've got more revolving doors going on, and it's just, like I said, it's next man up. We've got a guy that's going to make his first start as a sophomore, and I got a lot of confidence that he's going to do everything that we asked him to do. So, and that's what it's about. So, it is day-to-day, with Briz. The other 2 guys, they won't be back this week. Malachi, not at all. And like I said, we'll just reassess and see how everything goes for next week.
Coach, being the head coach at the high school level isn't everything it's cracked up to be, is it?
Last week was a hoot, just with our bleacher situation. So we actually got those things kind of wrapped up at about 5:45 before kickoff. But it was just a constant barrage each and every day asking about the bleachers, which I wasn't building them, so it wasn't really something that I can answer. So I'm glad that's behind us. But it is, and I've said many times, Murphy. I'm fortunately and unfortunately, the sanity in my life revolves around the decisions of teenagers. And, when they get out there and they do their thing and use the skills and that they've been blessed with, and then the X's and O's that they've been coached with to be successful and see the joy that they have, then nothing beats this job. But sometimes it feels like you're hitting your head up against a brick wall, I won't lie.
Coach, in 14 of 16 years that you've been the head coach, I think this is your 17th year, you've made the playoffs.
19th year.
19th year, that's right.
19th year, yes, sir.
Looking at making the playoffs and raising that tradition to where people in DeKalb County think every year that Steve Trapp's team's going to the playoffs, I think tradition is something that's been built. And you and your staff have done that since you've been there.
Yeah, prior to, 2008, I got the job in 05, so those first 3 years we didn't make it. It was 3-27 on the win-loss record, but prior to that, there had only been, I think, 3 times in the history of the program, which it started DeKalb County High School in 1963. So since 2008, we've made it every year except for 2010, so it is something that, we start every January bout. I mean, that's finally our first goal, is to make sure that we're representing DeKalb County in that extra season. So, I mean, it's something we take a lot of pride in. Got a lot of them painted out here on the wall, and we do. We tell the senior class, do you want to be the group that lets that go? And like I said, it's going to be a challenging thing this year. We knew that coming in, even before all the injuries, but even more so now. But we're going to take it one day at a time and one game at a time and give it all we got.
Well, Coach Steve Trapp, best of luck to you and the Tigers. I hope you've got all your bad luck out of the way and maybe you won't suffer any more injuries. I know they have really hurt your squad, but it's something you just got to adjust to, and best of luck to DeKalb County.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, fellas.
Good luck, Coach.
We've been visiting with head coach Steve Trapp of the DeKalb County Tigers, and we'll have more. We'll look at the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week, plus the Gurus matchups. Murphy's going to do some picking for us when we return to the box score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Do you ever worry about the safety of your home when you leave? Or at night while you're sleeping? Then give your home a professional security makeover with help from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. There's never been a better time to get started.
Contact us and start your home's DTC Security Makeover today.
Community Wellness Clinic is a nurse practitioner-owned and operated full-service medical clinic. Our emphasis is on good health and wellness throughout every generation of your family. We strive to provide the expert quality of care that our patients deserve and expect. Along with primary care services, we also offer a full complement of urgent care services. Let us be your family's good health partner. Community Wellness Clinic in Woodbury. Phone 615-563-7515.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for chief geologist, general mine foreman, mine engineer, graduate mining engineer, electrical superintendent, mobile superintendent, mine supervisor, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to the box score. Terry Collins, Murphy Fair, and our good friend Justin Malden doing all the hard work behind the scenes. And Murph, we've got an old rivalry. District 8AA renewed. Livingston coming to Smithville to play DeKalb County. They used to play in District 8AA in basketball and football. And this has developed in quite a rivalry down through the years.
Well, it is, and they were the easternmost teams, I think, in 8AA when Smith County was in there and Cannon County was in there, and big rivalry. Two predominantly over the years basketball schools, but that doesn't hold anybody back come football season, and I know that's got to be a dandy one there, one that I would really enjoy watching. Kind of tough to make a call there. Livingston's got a win, and maybe, as Coach Trapp said, DeKalb County still looking after last week and week before's losses. So that's a tough one to call, but I don't know, maybe the difference on that is home field advantage. You got to go with the Tigers, I think, in that one.
6:45 there on the pregame, and 7 o'clock tee-up from up at Smithville. Let's go ahead and go to the Murphy's matchups. The Guru, take it away, Murph. Oakland and Haywood.
Well, that on paper looks like it could be very one-sided. It'll just depend on how much Oakland's players think about last week's loss. They haven't lost a regular season game in quite some time, so going to Brownsville's a tough place to go, but they've got a new coach down there, and Coach Puckett in his first year as a head coach, because the former head coach is now elsewhere at Bartlett High School in Memphis. But I got to go with Oakland in that one, Terry.
Springfield traveling to Paris for Henry County. And if you've never been to Henry County for a football game, I went with Murphy Fair, and their pregame tailgating is like no other, I'd say, in the state of Tennessee.
Absolutely. They love it over there. And that's going to be an interesting game. Henry County with a huge win last week, knocking off a top 5 team in Riverdale. Riverdale coached by Will Kreisky, who played at Henry County several years ago. But Springfield's taken it on the chin a couple of times. I think they lost to Clarksville last week in the 100th meeting between those two teams, but I think Henry County gets the win there. And then Germantown at Houston. Houston High School was formed because Germantown High School was overcrowded 10 or 15 years ago, so there's a pretty strong rivalry between those two teams anyway. But I think Houston County probably has the edge, at least in the size department.
Let's go ahead and look at some more scores for Murph to pick. We're going to start with Brentwood, who's been on quite a roll, playing at Hendersonville. Of course, Hendersonville got a big win over Gallatin, a big rivalry.
Yeah, they did. And I saw Brentwood a couple of weeks ago when they traveled to Blackman. They've got a very senior-heavy team, a lot of experience coming back over there, and I think Brentwood wins that one, even though they're the visiting team.
Lebanon, Chuck Gentry's team, coming off a loss to Upperman, plays Warren County, who beat DeKalb County in week 1 before losing in week 2.
Warren County's got a pretty fair football team, maybe not as good as it was a couple of years ago with their best player, who's now a Vanderbilt Commodore, but it's a rebuilding season for Lebanon as well. And but I think Chuck Gentry does what he needs to do to get his team ready for the Pioneers, and I'm picking Lebanon to win at home.
Waverly at Mount Pleasant.
Tell you right now, it's Waverly. They've got a very good football team. Mount Pleasant lost a goodly number of seniors from last year, so I think Waverly wins that one going away.
All right, let's look at some more picks for Murph. Start off with Farragut at Knox West.
Knox West, the defending 5A state champion. That's the second state championship they've won. Farragut, always a good team to come out of Knoxville, but I think West has got enough quality players returning from last year to win that one. Dobbins Bennett at West Ridge. West Ridge, the newest high school in the Tri-Cities area. I think DB has enough talent on that team, on this year's team, to win that game. And then the Musket Bowl, Crockett, Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone. I wonder if, what was that guy's name? Mingo, the Indian on the Daniel Boone show. But I've got to go with Daniel Boone in this one.
All right, let's look at some more picks for Murph. Going to start out with the Gordonsville Tigers traveling down to Charleston County.
Well, they both need a win in the worst way. I think the speed factor in Trousdale County gives them the edge in that one. Smith County hosting Liberty Creek, one of the newest high schools in the mid-state. Smith County's on a roll. They're playing very well, even if it is with a young quarterback, and I'm going with the Owls in that one. Cannon County at Cheatham. Got to go with Cannon County. They got some momentum this past week. Hopefully that'll help them in their effort against the Cubs. Watertown at Sequatchie. Sequatchie, we've seen put a lot of points on the boards in the early part of the season, and I think the Indians may come away with a win there. And lastly, DeKalb hosting Livingston. I live so close to DeKalb County, I've got to go with the Tigers in that one.
Murph, when you look at these picks, I think you and I are torn because a lot of these ball games are going to be close.
I think so. And hopefully the weather will be okay, and it won't be a pigsty, if you will, or whatever, in the rain and the mud, and they'll just be able to play good high school football.
Well, hopefully the heat won't be with us like it was last week.
Right.
A lot of games pushed back to 7:30 and 8 o'clock. I haven't heard of any that's been a pushback for this week. So for Justin Malden and Murphy Fair, I'm Terry Collins. Good night on the Box Score.
Bye, y'all.